I want to ask you a question that might sound crazy. What if I told you that a common nutritional deficiency, something affecting millions of seniors, could be just as deadly as a lifelong smoking habit? It sounds unbelievable, but the science is crystal clear. I was recently listening to a fascinating, in-depth discussion with Dr. Rhonda Patrick, a brilliant biomedical scientist, and it highlighted several shocking truths about aging that I knew I had to share with you today. Because the biggest lie we've been told about aging is that it's all in our genes. We see our parents get older, and we think, that's my destiny. But the science says otherwise. Dr. Patrick made a powerful point, backed by decades of research. A staggering 70% of how you age is determined by your lifestyle. Your genes are not your destiny. Your daily choices are. So today, I'm going to distill this cutting-edge science into 3 secrets that can literally change the trajectory of your health, starting right now. And don't forget to give a thumbs up. Share it with your old pals if you found the information useful, because sharing is caring. Secret number 1. The hidden danger of doing nothing. The first secret is about the incredible danger of inactivity. We all know we should move more, but I want you to understand that being sedentary isn't just a bad habit. Dr. Patrick calls it a disease, and the science proves it can be even more predictive of an early death than smoking or heart disease. To understand how quickly this disease takes hold, she highlighted a landmark experiment called the Dallas Bed Rest Study. Back in the 1960s, researchers took 5 healthy, vibrant college students and put them on complete bed rest for just 3 weeks. And this was serious. They couldn't even get up to use the bathroom. The goal was to see what 3 weeks of total inactivity does to the heart and lungs. The results were devastating. Their cardiorespiratory fitness, what we call VO2 max, a key predictor of longevity, completely plummeted. But here is the truly shocking part of the story. 30 years later, the scientists found those same 5 men and tested them again. What they discovered is almost unbelievable: the damage done to their cardiovascular fitness from those 3 weeks of bed rest was worse than the damage from the next 30 years of aging. Let me repeat that, because it's the most important thing you might hear all year. 3 weeks of doing nothing aged their cardiovascular system more than 3 decades of living. This is why this is so critical for us as seniors. Think about what happens after a surgery, a bad flu, or even during a long, cold winter here in Oregon, where we're less active. A few weeks of being bedridden or mostly sedentary can trigger a rapid, accelerated aging of our heart and lungs. Dr. Patrick uses the powerful analogy of an aging cliff. Your fitness level is your distance from that cliff. When you're fit, carrying groceries or walking up a flight of stairs is easy. But as inactivity shrinks your fitness, you get closer to the edge. Soon, just walking to your car leaves you out of breath. Everything becomes a maximal effort. You've fallen off the cliff of functional independence. This isn't a scare tactic. It's a wake-up call. The good news from the study is that after the bed rest, the young men were able to regain their fitness through exercise. It shows us that this decline is not inevitable. You have the power to stop it, and even reverse it. Recognizing that inactivity is a true threat is the single most important place to start. Secret number 2. The shocking power of simple nutrients. But it's not just about what you do. The second secret, and arguably the most overlooked, is about what your body might be critically missing. Today, we're focusing on 2 foundational pillars of healthy aging that are tragically neglected: vitamin D and omega-3s. First, let's talk about a nutrient deficiency that is silently sweeping through our senior population. In her interview, Dr. Patrick asked a crucial question. Why don't people know that a simple vitamin D deficiency can increase your risk of dementia by 80%? This isn't just a theory. It's a public health crisis hiding in plain sight. Think about how our daily habits change as we get older. We often spend more time indoors, and when we are outside, we're rightly cautious about sun exposure, often using sunscreen. What no one tells you is that this combination creates a perfect storm for vitamin D deficiency. Our skin becomes less efficient with age. A person at 70 produces up to 75% less vitamin D from the same amount of sun as a 20-year-old. The consequences are devastating. A landmark study published in the journal Neurology followed over 1,600 seniors for nearly 6 years. The results were terrifying. Seniors with a moderate vitamin D deficiency had a 53% higher risk of developing dementia. For those with a severe deficiency, the risk skyrocketed to 125%. And this isn't a rare problem. The CDC estimates that in the United States, 1 out of every 6 seniors has insufficient vitamin D levels, leaving them vulnerable. Now, if the vitamin D statistic was concerning, this next one is a true wake-up call. Dr. Patrick highlighted a groundbreaking study that found having a low omega-3 level in your blood is as bad for you, in terms of mortality, as being a regular smoker. Read that again. A simple nutrient deficiency carries the same risk as one of the deadliest habits on the planet. So why are so many of us deficient? It comes down to our eating choices. 50 years ago, a dinner plate might have regularly featured fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, or sardines. Today, those have often been replaced by other proteins, and our diets have become flooded with processed foods full of inflammatory omega-6 oils. This imbalance is like a fire in the body, and omega-3s are the firefighters. The science on this is undeniable. In a major study, researchers measured the amount of omega-3 in the blood of thousands of people, what they call the omega-3 index. They then compared the risk of death between smokers and non-smokers based on their omega-3 levels. The finding was astounding. A non-smoker with a low omega-3 index had the same risk of dying as a smoker with a high omega-3 index. The terrifying part? Researchers estimate that more than 4 out of 5 American adults have omega-3 levels in the high-risk zone. Think about that. We all know the dangers of smoking, yet millions of us are walking around with a nutritional deficiency that carries a similar risk. These aren't just vitamins. They are powerful, hormone-like compounds that protect your brain and your heart. Not having enough is like leaving the front door of your house wide open for disease. Of course. Let's dive deep into this crucial call to action section, transforming it from a simple summary into a detailed, persuasive, and actionable guide, complete with real-world examples and the supporting science from the interview. Here is the expanded and more detailed version of your 3-step plan. Your 3 simple steps to a stronger, sharper future. So what does this all mean for you, today, right here in Oregon, or wherever you're watching? It means you are in the driver's seat of your own aging process. It's not about expensive, complicated protocols. It's about making small, powerful choices every day. Here's your simple 3-step plan based on this science. Step 1. Move with intensity, not just duration. We've been told for years to get our 10,000 steps in, and that's a great start. But the science Dr. Patrick discusses shows that the quality of your movement can be more important than the quantity. You don't need to run a marathon. The goal is to trigger that miracle grow for your brain by pushing your body into what's called vigorous intensity. This is the level where your heart rate is up to about 80% of your max, and you're too breathless to hold a comfortable conversation. That short period of stress is the signal that tells your muscles to produce the lactate that feeds and grows your brain. I have a patient, Robert, a 72-year-old, who was a dedicated daily walker but felt his energy and mental sharpness were still declining. I suggested a simple change. On his 30-minute walk, find a small hill and walk up it as fast as he safely could for just 1 minute, then recover. He did this 4 times during his walk. After a month, he told me it was a game changer. He said, "Doc, I feel a clarity and a post-walk energy that I haven't felt in years." That's the power of intensity. You can do this on a stationary bike, a rowing machine, or simply by walking faster between two telephone poles. A few minutes of pushing yourself is better than an hour of mindless strolling. Step 2. Get your levels tested with precision. The next time you see your doctor, I want you to advocate for your health with specific requests. Don't just ask for a checkup. Ask for the data that matters. For vitamin D, ask for a 25-hydroxyvitamin D blood test. The goal, based on dozens of studies on mortality, is to be in the optimal range of 40 to 60 nanograms per milliliter, not just the sufficient low end of 30. For omega-3s, ask for an omega-3 index test. This measures the long-term levels in your red blood cells. Remember the study. Having a low index, below 4%, carries a mortality risk similar to smoking. Your target is an index of 8% or higher. I remember a patient, Brenda, a 68-year-old from right here in rainy Oregon, who came to me with persistent low mood and fatigue. She thought it was just the gray winters and getting older. Her tests came back with a vitamin D level of 15, severely deficient. We started a doctor-supervised supplementation plan, and 6 months later, she said she felt like a different person. Getting the data was the first step to getting her life back. You cannot fix a deficiency you don't know you have. Take creatine. As Dr. Patrick highlighted, it truly shines when the brain is under stress. Who among us doesn't have stress or the occasional bad night's sleep? A landmark study on sleep deprivation found that when participants were kept awake for over 21 hours, a dose of 25 to 30 grams of creatine didn't just prevent the expected decline in brain function, it actually made them perform better than when they were well rested. I have patients who are caregivers for their spouses, running on fumes day after day. For them, after a discussion with me, a smaller daily dose of creatine has been a lifeline for maintaining mental clarity and focus. While the muscle-saturating dose is about 5 grams a day, research suggests that anything above that begins to spill over and effectively fuel the brain. These are not complicated protocols. They are simple choices that give you back control over your health. The science is clear. Aging is a process we can influence. You have the power to build a healthier, stronger, and sharper future. I want to thank Dr. Rhonda Patrick for her incredible work in bringing this research to the public. Now, I want to hear from you. Based on what you've learned today, what's the one simple change you're going to make this week? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for joining me at Senior Fit Nation. If you found this information valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a video. Stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.